As far as the course itself goes, you can absolutely watch this thing from start to finish, or you can bounce around as needed. The one thing that I want to highlight is that really this course breaks down into three main sections: working with SQL data, working with XML data, and then working with SQL objects. Let's talk a little bit about who each section is going to be targeted at. The first section will be on writing queries. Now you'll notice if you take a look at the outline that in that first section, we're going to spend the vast majority of our time focusing in on the select statement. And that's by design, because you're going to notice that the vast majority of your time in working with SQL is going to be focused on the select statement. Now there will be a section on actually working with transactions, modifying data, but the main focus there is going to be on retrieving data. As a result, the target audience here is going to be people that are new to SQL Server, that maybe you had a database thrust upon you, all of a sudden somebody came up to you and said, hey, I need you to start creating reports, and you're not quite sure of exactly where to start, and here's a good starting point. Or maybe what you decided to do is you decided, all right, you know what, I'm going to go headlong into this, I'm going to figure all this out, and now you're stopping and going, I feel like there's more. I feel like my life could be easier. I need to learn some different tips, tricks, and otherwise. So those are my two main target audiences here, is people that are new to SQL and people that are maybe looking to fill in gaps. Now, the one thing that I do want to highlight is that this is prerequisite knowledge for every single person that's going to be working in a database. So even if you're maybe saying, well, I'm only ever going to be a DBA, I'm only ever going to be, backing up my database, things like that, being able to write select statements, being able to write update statements is really still required knowledge for DBAs as well. So this is going to be required knowledge for everyone. The second section is XML. And we're going to take a look at a relatively high-level overview of how XML works inside of SQL Server. Now, XML, in my experience, is something that people will use quite extensively or not at all, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of middle ground. And I would also say that the people that are not using XML inside of SQL far outnumber the people that are using XML inside of SQL Server. So as a result, for real-world application, the XML section, quite frankly, is probably going to have a relatively limited target audience. That being said, however, if you are a developer and you're going to be passing XML to and from SQL, this is obviously going to be very important for you. Or if you are looking to take the 7461, the SQL Server querying exam, you will need to understand how to retrieve and how to parse XML inside of SQL Server. The last section is going to be on creating and altering SQL Server objects. Now, there's quite a bit of time that could be spent on all of this, that we could do an entire course on database design that could last, weeks and weeks and weeks. There's still quite a bit that could be covered on creating all the individual objects inside of there. My goal in this lesson is really to focus in on a high-level overview of working with SQL objects. So my target audience is for people who need to get a little bit more into SQL Server, developers who maybe need to create basic programming objects, people that are looking to take that 7461 exam, or people that maybe just want a little bit more information about this view that they're using or about this stored procedure that they're using. Exactly what is this? What goes on behind the scenes inside of there?